Hi, and welcome back to part number 2 of my next project, the Revell 1/32 scale Messerschmitt Bf109G-10 Erla. Alright, today we're going to get started on working on this kit. So as I said in the intro video, which I'll link at the end if you haven't seen it, this build series is not going to be a step-by-step thing. I'm going to work on steps and sections and maybe whole pages of these instructions. And then I'll kind of do a summary of what went on. And if I run across something that needs an actual demonstration, I'll go ahead and do that on video so as to be helpful for anybody that might build this in the future. So, let's get started. First up, I will be using Vallejo products for my paints in the airbrush. For some of the brush painting stuff, I will most likely incorporate some AK third generation. Almost said fifth, getting ahead of myself. AK third generation paints, and I'll be using, for the metal stuff, I'll be using Vallejo's metal color. I used this years back, and for some crazy reason I stopped using it, and I shouldn't have. This is good stuff. So anyway, it's going to be pretty much water-based acrylics until I get to weathering, and then I may introduce some enamel products. So anyway, let's go ahead and open this thing up and see what we've got on the menu first. Step 1 is the beginning of the cockpit. Now, when I built this a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, I had some photo etch for this kit as well. And I remember one of the things were the straps for these rudder pedals. Now, I don't have any photo etch, and I don't plan on getting any. However, I will do something with the rubber pedals. I'll probably use just some masking tape and make sure it's tacked in place really well with some CA adhesive, and you know, paint it. I mean, in the end, it's not going to be visible, but I plan on taking some extra photos of the build process for a written thing I'm going to be doing on this kit in conjunction with the video series. So anyway, I'm going to start cutting off parts, start gluing stuff. Oh, another quick note. The way that Revell of Germany has chosen to do these sprues is kind of weird. So, as you can see on the instructions here, we have two parts number 6, a part number 8, and a part number 1. So, where are those? Which sprue are those actually on? Got no idea. They've got a sprue map up here. Right here, but it's kind of hard to find on the sprue map because nothing is in order. For example, we have part number 1. Right next to that is part 179. So it's just weird how they have their parts laid out on the sprues. And the only reason I bring that up is, honestly, it didn't really click for me until one of my fellow modelers that has followed my YouTube channel back in the day mentioned something about it. So you kind of got to be able to eyeball these parts and know where the concentration of, say, cockpit parts are on the sprues. So anyway, just thought I brought that up in case you're thinking about building this kit. Something to watch for. This warrants further discussion. So part number 1 was right here on sprue B. Part number 8 was right here on sprue M. Part number 6, which there are 2 of, the rudder pedals, are on 1 each of sprue D. So that's what I'm talking about. This stuff scattered all over hither and yon. Again, not that big deal, but you know, something worth mentioning. Kind of weird. Okay, I got some parts drying right now. Specifically this, the Canon breech cover. So before I can sand that, I need to let it cure a bit. In the meantime, I'm going to have to get this pilot painted and ready to go for once I get the cockpit done. So I'm going to cut this guy off of here, and then we'll take a look at these parts and start getting ready to paint this guy. Okay, so here we are so far. Let me zoom this in so we can see what's going on. Instrument panel has had the decals applied and a clear coat, and then I've done all the detail painting and a clear coat on all of this. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a wash, pin wash on this stuff to kind of make some of the details pop out a bit. And may do a little bit of dry brushing on the sides. Now ultimately you're not going to see about 90% of everything in here, because once I get the pilot in there, not much is going to be visible. That's why I didn't bother with chipping on the floor and all that kind of stuff. Focusing on the stuff that is visible. But I'm going to do that, if for nothing else, just to practice. But get that done. The pilot is over on a stick in the process of getting undercoated. So everything's looking jolly. Here's this part here. I'll put this in after the fact once I get everything buttoned up. And yeah, so I'm going to work on that a little bit. And I think what I'm going to do this time, alright, so normally I do not use straight up black for pin wash or any other kind of wash for that matter. But in this case, since this is a dark color, really dark, I am going to use black, especially since most of it's going to be kind of hidden, or not visible, I should say. So what I'm using Abteilung 502 black and just some art / craft store odorless thinner, mineral spirits. I'm going to test a little bit of this, see how it flows. And let's see. Whoa, I got a lot on my brush here. It's alright though. I'll drain some of it out. It's a nice thing about this stuff. Now, you may be asking, well, why did you clear coat it first? Well, I find that for me, washes tend to work a little bit better on a clear surface as opposed to flat, because especially with something like Tamiya, Tamiya is like ultra flat, so the wash tends to diffuse into the flat surface, whereas with nice shiny clear, it tends to stick in the detail as opposed to fusing into the surrounding paint. Hopefully that makes sense, but that's my That's my reasoning. Now some of this is getting, you know, off target here, but I'll be touching it up with some Q-tips and such. And I almost forgot, I need to put some small bits on here. So I'm going to move this out of the way so we can see what we're doing. But I got some super glue right there. I almost forgot I need to put these seat belt mounting points on here for my pilot dude, because the molded on stuff just wasn't going to cut it, especially since I'm putting a pilot on there. So what I'm doing is I'm putting these on there, and then I'm going to use a bit of masking tape to create the belt between the shoulder of the pilot and these mounting points. That's why they're angled a little bit. So, at least in theory, that's my plan. Okay, and what I'm using for that is this set of seat belt buckles, World War II, German World War II 1/32 scale by Verlinden. And you get the straps, you know, the actual belt material, and then various mounts. So that's what I'm using. So now to demonstrate a little bit more of this, and then I'll do the rest off camera so as not to bore you into oblivion. So let's see, let's get this. Let me make sure I'm staying in frame here. I have some Tamiya panel liner, but that stuff, I think a lot of the thinners have evaporated, so it's like really opaque and doesn't really flow like it should, and it's hard to remove. And I have discovered recently, and it makes sense, but the stuff can degrade over time, so I'll probably just have to chuck those bottles. You know, I like to use bottled products just because, you know, they're already mixed up and ready to go, like say Ammo by MiG stuff or whatever, but I don't have any that will work for what I'm doing here, so just did the old reliable and mixed up me own. Tried and true. So anyway, that's enough blabbing. I'm gonna keep working on this. Then once I get it cleaned up, I think I'm gonna do some dry brushing. So I'll come back when I'm ready to do that. All right, let's fast forward a bunch. So I got the pilot finished and glued in place, and it fits really well in place of the kit seat. I mean, it fits really good. No weirdness going on at all. I got the strap extensions and the buckles, or the attachment points, in place. I figure I'm gonna have to say I'm pretty stoked with it. This is one of my, I'm not saying it's perfect by any stretch of the imagination, because I still have a long ways to go with figure painting, but I do like how this little bloke turned out. I'm happy with it. But anyway, so now I glued this side on. I need to glue this side on here, and the instrument panel. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm just going to put it in place here, hopefully. Whoops. I got that all together, so now I need to glue this. I scraped paint and clear away so I get a good bond. And let's put some here and here. Got a big old fingerprint there. Awesome. It's all right though. It's not visible. Okay. Now you can see there's gaps there. I am going to, once this all dries, I've got everything scraped away, so I'll be putting glue here and here, and I'll pull this together with some tape or a clamp or something. And that will conclude the cockpit portion, which I don't know how long this video is going to be. Not very long, I don't think, but it's taken me for a long time to do this. But that will finish it up to step number 9. Okay, so really the last part I need to do for this group of steps is to glue this support here. It's for the wings, and it goes with it's angled. The angle goes forward. The angled side goes forward. So I just need to glue that there. This part I've already glued in place, which was in step number 11. I've already done that. So basically once I do this, it will finish up the cockpit parts. Now the instructions show this needs to be painted here, and that would definitely be the case if I were doing the landing gear down. But since I'm doing landing gear up, that is not necessary. So we're good there and there. So that pretty much takes care of the cockpit assembly, steps 1 through 11. So I think I'll call that quits for this video. So next time when I come back, we will start with step number 12. And I will begin with some of the aftermarket stuff, specifically these little scoops, ventilation scoops there, air scoops. So that's it for now. All right, so thank you for watching part number 2, or video number 2 of the Revell 1/32 scale Messerschmitt Bf109G-10 Erla. If you enjoyed this video and you haven't done so yet, think about hitting the subscribe button so you can keep up with this build. Also, if you liked the video, hit the thumbs up. That'd make me feel really good about myself. Seriously, thanks for watching Plastic Models by a Regular Dude, and stay tuned for the next episode, part number 3, whereupon we start with the fuselage. So until then, thanks for watching, and I will see you all next time.